Hello, friend, and welcome back. As I'm standing here, I am nervous, excited, scared, and kind of in the mood to procrastinate on this matter again. Only because it's new and I haven't done it before. But I need to push myself out of my comfort zone and do this because I keep saying I want to do it, but then I keep making up excuses and ways to not get it done. And today I'm going to make my very first batch of tallow and sheep milk soap. I think the thing I'm scared of the most is the whole lye process. Because if I hear someone tell me one more time, be very careful, make sure to wear all your safety equipment, I may never do this because they speak so much fear into me that I am scared that I'm going to melt and die when I make my lye solution. Which, in all honesty, I probably won't. If there are so many other people that can successfully make their own soap, I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. But now I have to overcome this wonderful mental barrier that has been created for me by other people that keep telling me to be careful. Which I appreciate when people tell you to be careful, safety first, because you do get to a point in life where getting hurt sucks and it's not fun anymore, especially if it is preventable stupidity. But anyway, so I have had great trouble in the last few months as I was researching a soap recipe for what I would like to make. You get a lot of tallow soap recipes, and then you get a lot of just milk soap recipes. Actually, no, you don't get a whole lot of it, but they're there. And then most soap recipes have mostly just oils in them. And so I have been having a hard time finding a recipe that I can make with tallow and sheep milk. And I ended up finding a goat's milk soap recipe that contained tallow and goat's milk and a few other oils. One was coconut oil, which I like because, coconut oil is a pretty common thing, and if it's not, it's really easy to get. And the other thing was olive oil. Now, my olive oil is in the house is still strained because I'm not using clean olive oil. I'm using olive oil that I infuse with spearmint, which apparently has some good benefits for your skin from my research I have done. And when I say research, I mean Googling it quickly in 2 minutes. Spearmint is a great antibacterial. It apparently works well if you have like little, wounds or something on your skin. And apparently it's also very cooling, the same effect as what that peppermint would be. So those are my oils I'm going to be using is my beef tallow, coconut oil, and then my spearmint infused olive oil. Now, when I found this goat's milk recipe, I took the recipe as it was and I went to liecalc.com and I put in the amount of her recipe that she had, of how much she uses for her recipe. But of course, I don't know what size mold she uses, and I use my own mold that I made myself, lined with parchment paper. And so I had to calculate how big my mold is on the inside. And then I took this recipe to liecalc.com and I adjusted the amounts that I need to use of everything according to the size of my mold. So if I did everything right, hopefully everything should work out and it should fit. But as of right now, I already measured out my tallow. So my tallow is 530 grams. It's in my crock pot. I'm going to switch on my crock pot now to start heating it up. And then what I'm going to do is I actually should also, before I heat that up, actually, measure out the coconut oil because I need to heat that up with the tallow. Get that in there, then we'll plug it in, heat it up, and get that melting. The olive oil is easy to just add because, I mean, that doesn't need to be melted. That's already liquid. And then as for my sheep's milk, that's still in the freezer. I measured that and put it in ice cube trays and froze that. So I have to go get that out of the freezer. I'm going to put it in this stainless steel bowl. And then we're going to put my lye over the milk to make the lye solution with the milk. So this recipe doesn't use water with the lye as a solution, it uses the milk. And for that you need to freeze the milk, because if you don't, the lye solution can actually burn the milk, and then when the milk heats up too much, it can turn into caramel or sugar or something. Yeah, so I think that's maybe the other thing, is like, I'm so dead scared I'm gonna ruin the milk. But at some point you have to get to the point where you like rather try and fail than not try at all. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen if I mess this up? I lose a bit of milk, I lose a bit of fat. It's not the end of the world. I can just try again, and I learn as I go. But you have to start and do something. I'm going to put you here by the table so you can see me measure out the coconut oil. And then we'll get this plugged in and heat it up so that we can get a move on. Because I'm standing outside here on the deck, so that when I make my lye solution and it makes a gas and whatever else, it's outside. It's not in the house. And at the same time, I can see a storm rolling in, so I better get moving. So in case you're wondering, this is a second-hand crock pot that I thrifted for 10 bucks. I'm not using our own personal crock pot to make soap. They say to use equipment that you don't use for your food. So it's a thrifted crock pot. It's not going to affect us in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, I'm going to zero out the scale. Here's my recipe that I converted on lyecalc.com. So I already have my beef tallow in here, which is 530 grams. Next, I'm going to put in the coconut oil, and that is 240.81 grams, but I think it's safe to say that 241 grams is okay. And I'm not using fancy coconut oil because this is my very first time making soap. And if I'm going to mess this up, I'm not going to mess it up with more, with expensive stuff. Okay, so oops, 218, a little bit more, almost there. Almost there. $2.43. Let's take out a tiny bit. $2.42. $2.41. Yay! There you go. And that's not too hard. Look at that beautiful green tint from the spearmint. Although in all reality, it's probably hard to say because the color of the olive oil is pretty much still close to the color of olive oil. But this is infused, I promise you. It's infused. So you put in the exact same amount of olive oil as coconut oil, which is 241 grams. Now, I hope I have enough. I believe I do. Bloody mosquitoes. Oh. Okay. I just don't have enough. So I'm going to go grab the bottle of regular olive oil and just top it off with the 40 grams that I did not have. Okay, Fina. All right, 241. So all my oils are in here, my beef tallow, my coconut oil, and my olive oil, as it is on my recipe. So I'm going to switch this on. I'm going to put it on low. And we are going to let this sit. Actually, I need to go get the lid for the crock pot and cover this so this can heat up. And then I'm gonna go grab my milk from the freezer and we're gonna have the fun part start. The part that terrifies me. Here's my frozen milk. We're going to unload it into the silver pot minus the mosquito that's sitting in here. Oh my goodness, we have so many mosquitoes. In fact, we have had so much rain in the basically since the rain season started this year up until now. We have had somewhere between 10 and 11 inches of rain. We practically have a dam in our backyard, which doesn't help the mosquitoes. Actually, we just have sitting water because it's so flat here. Our topsoil is clay, so the water doesn't exactly run off. And this milk is so frozen it doesn't even want to pop out. So maybe I'll just let that sit a little bit. And yeah, oh my goodness, it's really frozen in here. There, we will let that sit. Let's see how bad this one is. Yeah, the milk doesn't seem to want to pop out like water does. I wonder if it's because of the fat that's in here. Interesting. So you learn. I've never frozen milk in an ice cube tray before. Oh wait, I think I have this. Ah, there you go. Beauty. They're out. The one tray. I still have this tray. But this tray is not going to be as easy because it's those little silicone back popper trays. No. Okay. We'll give that a moment. You know what I can do while we wait? Let's do that. I can weigh out my lye. that I need. Okay, so lie and take into consideration this soap that I made. I changed the recipe or adjusted the recipe for a 10% super fat soap. So the lye is going to be a little bit lesser than it otherwise would have been. So 134.62 grams. Oh no, that was too much. Too much lye, just a little bit too much. There you go. 134. I can't measure the 0.62, but I'm sure it's somewhere. Oh wait. Now I'm short again. Ooh. Ooh. There you go. 134 something something. Don't know what the something something is, because the scale doesn't tell me, but I think it's good enough. I'm going to get a spoon that I can mix this up with and see if I can help the melting process on a little bit. And can put away a few things. I will be back. Alright, so my oil is almost melted, the tallow and the oil. I finally got my milk out of that little ice cube tray. It started melting a bit, so then it just slipped out and that was easy. Here comes the fun part, the scary part, the part that makes me procrastinate and not want to do this, even though I really want to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now. And that is to put my lye with my milk. But first, safety. Because when you're getting old, getting hurt is no longer fun, especially if it's preventative stupidity. And off we go. I don't actually know if you can hear me, but the recipe says to add the lye to the milk slowly, otherwise it can burn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you over here so you can watch me do this. Here we go. We have to have the lye solution with the milk and the fat, which has now melted properly, be between the temperatures of 110 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit, and both are it's slightly a little on the warm side. So I'm covering both just to let it sit and cool off a little bit. Yeah, we're taking the oil out of the crock pot so it doesn't continue being heated. Even though the crock pot has been switched off, it's still warm. So yeah, you can't see this now, but this is beautifully melted. It's a beautiful liquid. And I think you've seen this. It's orange, which I think actually meant the milk burned, but I guess we'll see how it turns out. Combine lye with goat milk, in my case sheep milk. When adding lye to goat milk, do so very slowly, stirring very thoroughly to prevent scorching the milk. If it starts to turn even the slightest bit orange, back off with the lye and put the bowl in a separate bowl of ice cubes to slow down the heating. The milk will melt. The key to adding milk to soap is do it very slowly. Okay, so I think there is my first failure because this is very, very orange, very burnt. But that is just what it is. That is not going to change right now. We're just going to have to work with that. We just measured the oil and it was at, I think, 113 or something. So just waiting for the thermometer to get up to its temperature again. Oh, no, it's 110. So that definitely is right. And this here, the lime mixture with the milk. It's at 113. So we are ready to put the lime mixture in with the oil, and then we're going to use an immersion blender. This is just an El Cheapo one that I bought. I couldn't thrift one because I couldn't find one, so I think this was like 18 bucks. Just a very pretty standard, simple one. Yeah, and then we will blend it up. Let me put you on the stand so I have my hand so I can get this all together. So I don't think we're gonna get trace, as I always talk about, because this is a very thick consistency. But I think, from what I've seen with other people's soap, that this is pretty close to what it should be looking like. I think the milk makes it much thicker than just regular tallow or regular oil soap does. Apart from the fact that my milk also looks like caramel. But my husband just assured me that he's seen many other videos of other people making milk soaps, and their milk came out way worse and way darker than mine, and they just still use it. So I guess I'm okay. It's not such a complete big failure as I thought it might be. So now that means the last step to take is to get my husband to help me transfer this over into the mold, because he's gonna have to hold the parchment paper, or maybe he must hold the crock pot because it's pretty heavy, and I can scoop it over while I hold down the parchment paper on the mold. If you want to see how I made my mold, I will link the video of how I made it at the end of this video. I just lined it with parchment paper, and I will hold the paper out of the way while hubby does the hard work.
Not enough fiber.
Okay, give me that. I'm just spreading the soap in here. When this is all in and done, I will bring you close and show you a close-up, okay? I'll scrape it. Okay. Okay, hold on.
It's like butter.
Oh. Say that again.
Again. That again. It's like butter. You have to squeeze it into, because it's not liquid.
Yeah, it's a pretty thick paste.
Yeah.
So, it's like butter.
It's not.
You have to spread it.
A Taco Tuesday paste. It's way worse.
Oh no, I think I got some of it in my hair.
Your hair is gonna fall out.
And people, that is why I have a fear of lye.
I had to, because you got the allergy lye.
Oh my goodness. don't know if you heard that. My
okay.
husband says, you go to hell if you lie.
That's my fear of lie.
That's his fear of fly. Mine is burning. So maybe the two goes hand in hand. Okay, so you're going to spread your butter again, but before you carry on, I want to bring them closer so I want them to see what you do. So wait. So, as you can see, it's almost like baking a cake here. You kind of have to use some baking art and skills to get this in. Oh, look at that. He's trying to make a pretty pattern. You know, apart from the fact that my soap looks like caramel, I'm actually pretty happy with it. And then tomorrow we will resume this video and show you how I take this out of the mold, what it looks like tomorrow, and we're gonna cut it together. But this will all be on the same video. Look at that, that's pretty. Oh my goodness. Ladies, I hope you all have skilled, talented men like mine that can help you make your soap pretty. Ah, ta-da! And it turns out I measured pretty well because you can see the edge of my mold over there. And my soap has filled my mold perfectly. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I kind of like my caramel color. Anyway, that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow when we get this cut. It's 2 days now since I made my soap, and it is time for the big reveal. The moment I'm going to cut them, and I'm so excited. So before I start to cut, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It solidified beautifully. And it also doesn't really look like caramel anymore. It's not white, but it's actually a pretty color. My mold worked beautifully. You can see as it solidified, it kind of pulled away from the edge a bit, which is great because it's going to come out really easily. Here is my soap cutter that I made. Like I said, I will link that video at the end of this video so you can see how I made my soap cutter and my soap mold. And just an old scrappy knife that I don't feel sorry for, that I will use today to cut my soap. All right, just to show you how easily this comes out. That is how easily it comes out, and my mold is clean. Nothing leaked. It just worked beautifully. We have some interesting texture. Fun. Okay, put that in the cutter. I am just going to throw this parchment paper away. So I hope this works. The way I made this cutter is so that it will cut off the edges of the soap that is not pretty. Like, which you now just saw, it has quite a bit of texture from the paper. So let's see how the cutting goes. Okay, that actually cut pretty well, but I'm going to put it back so it can be like the little spacer. So all my soaps are going to be 1 inch thick. Now, if I wanted to make them thicker, I can just skip every second one and make 2 inch thick soap. But I think 1 inch thick is good enough. Oops. I will definitely have to look into a better way of cutting. I know you can make yourself a cutter with fish line or something like that. Something that I can actually just push through all the grooves all together in one go. I would say it's not that easy to cut the soap, especially if you have just the one side of the blade to push down on. Here, let's see if I use the fork to just push down the other side, if that helps. Sure, that helps a bit. Not much, but a little bit. I definitely am going to have to find a better way to actually physically cut this. There has to be an easier way than this. The mold, or the cutter itself, I think is great. I just have to get a different method or a different blade or a different something to cut. But at least it's cutting. Oh, this one I messed up a bit. That was better. That one cut much better. Maybe it's wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's a secret. Yeah, I think wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle is your secret to cutting your soap. stuck again. Last cut. Let's see if this one is going to actually work, because it's right at the very end. I do find that the soap is like pushing the blade right up against the edge as it goes down, because I think I have my blade kind of skewed a little bit when I'm cutting instead of nice and straight. So something to keep in mind. Okay, let's see what I have here. Let's see if it cut. Oh, there you go. There you go. It cut. And I would say it doesn't look too bad. I mean, for a first time, I think it came out looking okay. Now comes the really, really boring part. Watching this solidify, not solidify, saponify for 30 days before I can actually try it. But you know what? I have to say, I kind of do like the color. Almost looks good enough to eat. Well, friends, there you go. That's it. That is my very first batch of soap that I have ever made. Please do tell me in the comments if you also make soap, or if you have ever attempted to make soap or know a lot about soap making. Did I succeed? Did I mess this up? Does my soap look okay? Or do I need to go back and try again? Please tell me. I like to learn and I like to improve, and I do like to do things better every time I do them again. That's that for this video. I am curious to hear your thoughts on my soap. Was it good? Did I succeed? Did I fail? I guess we'll find out in 30 days if that soap can at least lather up and clean. I'm curious to find out. So, thank you for watching if you watch all the way to the end. If the homesteading lifestyle is something that you're interested in, with all the versatility of this lifestyle, because you're never doing the same thing, please like and please subscribe and follow along. It's always fun to watch other homesteaders, because we actually do learn from each other. We don't all do things the same way, so it's an interesting journey. Until next time, friends, I hope your week is blessed. Until we see again, bye-bye.